India gives Greenlight to use firearms against China, alongside the Indian Navy is flexing its muscles to counter Chinese development in the Indian Ocean and in the South China Sea. India sends a clear message to China. India has now given the green light for the Indian military to use firearms to defend themselves with any Chinese tactics of using mass or seeking to outnumber Indian soldiers. Like the 15 June Galwan Valley clash, a top Indian government source said. India and China have been locked in a standoff since April 2020. Both sides have been deploying more troops, with China has deployed around 50,000 soldiers and equipment, including missile defense system, tanks, artillery at the India-China border. China has said that India has changed its rules of engagement for the LAC, where the use of firearms was barred under a bilateral agreement. According to a source, China's words cannot be taken seriously, as they speak one thing and do anything. So, disengagement from the Chinese side has to be taken as a pinch of salt. Chinese soldiers have outnumbered Indian troops during the Galwan Valley clash, which will not be the same now, as India has now changed its rule of engagement in the China-India border. Both sides said they are likely to stay deployed in the forward areas of Ladakh through the winter, with China insisting on disengaging from the southern bank of Pangkang so fast, while India has been clear that it has to happen in all the areas simultaneously. After the 29th August incident, where the Indian army has recaptured its positions in several heights from the Chinese army. India is now flexing its muscles with its navy around the Indian Ocean. It is now deepening ties with countries who want to counter China. India, which operates one of the world's largest navies, has to do more to counter China along with its allied countries. While China has vastly outpaced the Indian and the US Navy swiftly, India is playing its part by inducting new submarines, frigates, destroyers, and also building more of them. But US Pentagon has already said China has outpaced even the US Navy for now in the Indo-Pacific region, but that too will change soon. China now has the capability to move forward with its navy anywhere it wants, as its navy is rapidly developing to match the US and other countries. For now, China has limited option to operate in the Indian Ocean. India has stepped up its work here in the Indian Ocean by joining hands with US, France, and building new naval bases with its friendly countries to counter China. The role of the Indian Ocean in the global economy is hard to overestimate. 3/4 of the worldwide maritime trade and half of the world's oil supplies pass through its water. Choke points such as the Malacca Strait in the east and the Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits in the west makes much of that shipping exposed in the case of military conflict. India's Navy operates an aircraft carrier and is building another one, in addition to possessing nearly 30 other large surface warships and a fleet of strategic and tactical submarines. China's Navy, by contrast, possesses some 90 large surface warships, including 2 aircraft carriers, and it is building 8 more, also building more advanced ships at much faster rate. The gap between the Indian Navy and the Chinese Navy is likely to grow in coming years, as China's economy bouncing back while India is battered by the coronavirus pandemic and shrinking according to the Indian news media. So what do you think of India giving green light to engage against Chinese any intrusion and miscalculation, and Indian Navy is flexing its muscles and not only in the Indian Ocean, also in the South China Sea? India, the world's biggest democracy and second biggest populated country. It has an outstanding economy and an astonishing military power compared to many developed nations like the US, China, UK, etc. While the economy is going up and down for India from 2016, now the world is facing the Russian, India is also clinging on issues with China. To face all of this, India needs a stronger military power and a stronger economy. Well, as we can't even talk about the economy of the world right now, we can say India's military power one of the fastest growing and the biggest in the world. With total military personnel of 3,544,000, the active personnel are 1,444,000. While China's military personnel are 2,693,000 and the active personnel are 2,183,000. In many cases, China takes the lead in the military superiority on India. When we look at the air power of the India's Air Force, the fighter jets 538, attack helicopters 172, transport aircraft 250, attack helicopters 23, trainer aircraft 359, helicopters 722. To defend itself, India has to upgrade towards latest technology. India makes less in India and buys more outside of India, so it can change to the latest technology of military so fastly. India's naval power is 285 of total asset. The aircraft carrier has 1 and 1 in development, destroyers 10 and frigates 13, corvettes 19, submarines 16, patrol vehicles 139, and mine warfare 3. India's army, one of the biggest in the world, has to accompanied by them with the most reliable land forces. So the land forces of Indian military has about total of 4,292 tanks, armored vehicles 8,686, self-propelled artillery 235, towed artillery 4,016, rocket projectors 266. China is becoming rival for the US. India and China are competing on many grounds like Africa, Indian Ocean, South China Sea, and even the South American continent. Because of its rival with China, US, France, UK are trying to team up with India to counter China with a new G10. While China's budget is whopping $337 billion, where we can compare to India, it's $61 billion. As India's economy trying to grow, its military power is waiting always to face its job. So what do you think of India becoming a superpower and how powerful it is in 2020 with its military and economy? Can it keep up with Russia, US, UK, and China?